Welcome to the Building a Better You podcast, presented by the Garner Chamber of Commerce Young Professionals. I'm Nick Spindler with Community of Hope Ministries.
And I'm Chris Morgan with Grow Local Realty.
The goal of this podcast is to help young professionals develop and grow into successful business people in their communities.
In each episode, we will talk with local business leaders to provide strategies and tips to help our listeners.
So let's dive right in.
Welcome back to Building a Better You. This week we are here with Karen White from Fairway Independent Mortgage. Thank you for joining us today.
Oh my goodness, can we insert the clapping emoji? Not emoji, but
sound.
Yeah, thank you.
I think it's called a sound effect.
I mean, I could put an emoji in, but I'm not sure
anybody's going to see it.
Audience. Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah. Well, thank
Y'all
you.
knew what I meant.
Yeah, I know what you meant. I read your mind. Yeah, thank you for having me.
We are super excited to have you. We've been counting down the days.
Yes. So tell us what's going on in the mortgage industry. How is it right now?
It's interesting. I'll put it that way. Rates did go down a little bit after the election. Every area is different. I think Raleigh is still doing well because we have so many different types of industry. We have banking, IT, medical, manufacturing. So we're not seeing the hit as bad as some of the other states.
Right.
I mean, I'm still busy. New construction seems to be a little slow, pretty weak on new construction. But resale homes have increased. I mean, I'm still getting loans, still getting people putting in applications. A little step back on investors or second homes. But people still have to have a place to live, and people are still moving in this area. We have a lot of people moving from the east and from the west, all over, in the north, coming to this area. So it's still growing. You've seen a few prices on houses go down, but the ones that are priced right are selling quickly. The ones where the people are not listening to their realtor and listening to the comps, they're sitting there because it's not a market where you're putting 30% down, and paying 20% over right now. People are going to be selling at what they should be selling at. And so I think even though the interest rates are up a little bit, it's still a fair market for first-time home buyers.
Right.
Yes.
So a lot of what the target for this podcast is young professionals, people that are likely setting themselves up to buy a home for the first time. And so what types of things should they be doing to get themselves ready to buy a home?
This is going to sound really stupid, but the biggest thing is pay your bills on time. That is what I see all the time, is that people who make good money, I forgot to pay the car payment. I forgot this. You can't do that. Because when you tell me why you forget, I can't go to the underwriter and say, they just were careless and forgot to pay a bill. Yeah. Because then it's going to look like, well, you might forget to pay the house payment too. So you really need to pay your bills on time. You need to watch for your debt too. You don't need a lot of debt because the lower your debt, the better your credit history looks. I mean, you want a strong credit history, but you don't want 10 revolving accounts. And if you pay a revolving account down, it's going to tank your credit. So don't open up a whole bunch that you're just going to have to keep something on to keep from tanking your credit. The other thing is that, yes, student loans are deferred. However, I still have to count the payment. So if you're not on a payment plan, I have to count anywhere from 0.5% to 1% of your balance, depending on which loan you're getting. So you need to remember that when you're thinking, I don't have to make that $200 or $300 payment. We have to figure that in there. Right. So keep your debt down. Don't go crazy just because you got a job. Balance it out, get on a budget, pay your bills on time.
It's funny that you say that because you had mentioned depending on what type of loan they have. So could you elaborate on that just a little bit for loan products out there for those that are young professionals like myself?
Yeah, if you have good credit history, you can get a conventional loan, which allows you to put minimum of 5% down. It used to be like when I bought my house, you had to put 20% down back in the old days. Now it's 5%. With Freddie, we can use 0.5% of your student loan. With Fannie, we have to use 1%. The other thing is there's FHA, which allows 3.5% down. It does have a funding fee, which is 1.75% of the purchase price. So typically, if you've got good credit and you have the money, conventional is the way to go because you can eventually get that PMI off. But I have had people with good credit want to just do the 3.5% down that FHA allows. Then there's also USDA, which if you're buying in a rural area and you don't have any credit history and you don't have money for a down payment. That's the thing. A lot of people think, oh, I can get that USDA. If you have enough money in the bank to make the down payment, they're not going to give it to you. So there are things that, you want to look at before you go put a house and make sure you got with a lender and you got your best type of deal. And then, of course, the VA loan for any veteran, there's zero down and just the closing cost. And then there's also a first-time home buyer program here in North Carolina where they will give you up to 8% that you can use for down payment or closing cost. And you can use that with the VA or the USDA. So that really helps out, take care of some of those closing costs instead of the down payment. They do have criteria for it. And there again, that's another reason to keep your debt down because you have to have a 45% debt to income. And they have an income limit, but it's a very generous income limit based on county. And then you have to be a first-time home buyer with a credit score of 640 and up. And they do it on all programs, conventional, FHA, USDA, and VA. So the one thing with interest rates being higher than what this generation may be, used to is keep your debt to income down because this way you can afford the house you're wanting. Then when interest rates go down, you can always refinance down. But if you got a 50% debt to income, it's going to make it a little harder.
Yeah, and so I think you might have to balance out, like, which do you want? That new nice car might look really nice, but, if you've got a huge payment on that and a lot of debt on that, and then if you're married and you got 2 new cars and you got your student loans, and then it comes time to try to buy a house, you could be in trouble with that debt-to-income ratio there.
Exactly. So you want to, think about what you really need. Again, like you said, the car looks really nice, but do you want the car or the house first? I always say, get your house first because cars are there, but, the interest rates, they are a little higher. So, but the fighting over the houses is not there.
That's good to hear. So for you, you've been in the business now for how long?
For 7 years.
7 years. So you've seen different shifts in the market, in your line of work, in your industry specifically. So based off of that, when you started day one, or I'd say within that first year of being a mortgage loan officer to now year 7, how has your business grown in that time?
Oh, tremendously. It has, it's gotten a lot easier because there's so many rules and guidelines and they change all the time. And especially during COVID. During COVID, we couldn't pre-qual anybody under 660, and now we could do 580 for FHA, depending on the credit history. Credit history is a big part. It's not just credit score. So it has grown tremendously. I'm able to get out and visit with people. I can take in getting referrals from former clients, things that, just ways that I never imagined it to grow. I'm feeling very blessed because each year I've had an increase. Even in this crazy year, I will have the same volume that I had last year or a little bit more. So
that's awesome.
It's definitely grown more and just can't be thankful enough.
So what practical things have you done to get it to grow? Because you said each year you've seen growth. So what were some of those steps you took to achieve that growth?
I would say probably marketing, going to different chamber events, to network events, fundraisers, anything I could get out and meet people. I'm not shy, so I talk to anybody. I'll be in the Lowe's checkout and talk to somebody. I just talk to everybody about what I do. And then I do it on Facebook. I just keep my name out there. And I also, started out that I would answer questions for realtors who really had another lender. They weren't really happy with them because they couldn't get a hold of them on the weekends or in the night. So they would call and ask me questions. And eventually they'd get tired of that other person doing the loan but being out of town or whatever, and they couldn't get a hold of me. So I try to be available for my clients and for my realtors because some people, they can't talk at work. They have to talk to a lender at 6:30 or 7 o'clock at night, and my kids are grown, so I have that freedom. It's not taken away from anything. My dogs may stare at me a little bit too much for being, I have one that thinks when I get the computer out that I'm cheating on her, because it's in my lap. But being available and being a source of information and, just being an advocate for getting you into a house with the best loan and not worried about, trying to add all this extra stuff on. The one thing I like about Fairway is our origination is low. We don't have a lot of overlay fees, and what that is specific charges that some other mortgage companies might add on. We have the same capabilities as online. I utilize my Fairway Now all the time because it's just like some of those online mortgage companies. I won't say their name and give them any press, but I can do it from my phone. I send it. I have my realtor partner on it, so they get notified every time the person uploads a document or something's there. So just trying to be the lender that communicates and is there, when they need to be.
I love that. And I love that you said it yourself. You're wanting to be accessible to the client, working those outside hours or weekend hours and whatnot to be not just accessible to the borrower, but also your realtor partner that you guys work with within the community. So that's absolutely fantastic to hear that from you guys and your business standpoint. So I'm assuming I can ask the $1 million question that we kind of just keep rolling with, right, Nick?
Yes. Yeah, we'll let you kick it off. There's 2 questions we ask every single one of our guests.
Oh, okay.
So, Chris, we'll let you take question number 1.
Question number 1 is one thing that you utilize every day to help better your business. Or it could be, just yourself in general.
Yeah, it could be business, your life,
personal,
just one thing you do every day to make yourself better.
I pray. That's my big thing. I pray. I pray all day long. Lord, help me cover my business with your blood. I pray because it's funny because when I first started, I was doing marketing for a very successful loan officer out here. And she wanted me to call and set up appointments with realtors and meet with her. And she said, I want you to call this person. They utilize a person in the same, type of category. So I called that lady and I said, so what do you do? How do you start it? And she said, I pray. I thought, that's exactly right. You pray beforehand. I pray that I can communicate what I need to and do what I need to do. And because honestly, it's not about all the money for me. I mean, I enjoy having a good living. I enjoy being able to feed my family and pay my bills. But there is a satisfaction of seeing that you got somebody in that somebody might not want to fool with. Yeah. Again, some of the banks, some of the big dogs or whatever, they're not going to fool with somebody on a $60,000 loan. But, that person still deserves that condo or that house. And Fairway's just big enough to compete with the big dogs, but small enough to feel hometown. So I just try to pray and set my priorities for the day.
That's awesome.
That is amazing. It's actually so funny because I was like, I've known you now for officially a year. I'm pretty certain we're officially rolling. Yeah, by the time this comes out.
1 year anniversary.
I was like, 1 year anniversary. I was like, who've known each other? But one of the things that you also have in your office, because I've gone there too many times. But
usually for treats.
Yeah, usually it's for the good stuff. But one thing that you have in your office that you hung up is a Bible verse, and I was like, I think it would be awesome if you care to share that Bible verse with us.
Oh gosh, can I remember it now? I see it every day.
I was like, we definitely see it every day. But she has it's right behind you.
It's on my little organizer, and it talks about submitting your plans and your will to God's will, and if you do that, then you will prosper.
That's awesome.
Because you need to be in His will for it. Because you can make all the plans you want, but if it's not His will, so it's commit your works to the Lord.
I love that. I was just curious because you don't see that for most people that just have, again, wearing their faith on their sleeve and showing that in their business and utilizing that also and bringing that to be the center of their business. So I think that's absolutely fantastic of you.
Well, thank you. It helps me because sometimes files go crazy because you're dealing with people from all walks of life, and so I'll turn around and I'll look at that, and it's kind of like my affirmation moment. It's like, okay, I can do this. Yes, I just have to remember what I'm doing and who's watching over me. So yeah, that's awesome. That's my thing.
That's awesome. All right, so to bring it home, the last question we have for you is, what's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Ooh.
Oh, the best piece of advice was from my mentor, who has gone to another company, but she said you can't grow if you don't let go. Because if I'm trying to do all the paperwork and all the loan details and everything, then I can't be out growing my business. So I had to learn to train somebody, step back, guide them, support them, but not micromanage. To just let it go, let them do their thing, and then my business has grown.
That's what I'm talking about, baby, right there. I mean, can we say it loud for the people in the
Yeah,
back?
you can't grow if you don't let it go.
Exactly.
Yeah, she just dropped the mic on.
She
but
sure
don't
did.
really-
Don't-
Dustin and Matthew
Yeah,
might
these-
not be
No.
happy with us if
Oh,
we
no, I
drop
don't want to
these
do that,
spots.
but no. And that was the best thing because I thought, I'm never going to let somebody else disclose for me. I'm never going to do this because this is my business, blah, blah, blah. Well, when you start doing $1 million and $2 million a month, you got to sleep and eat sometime. And my husband likes to see me occasionally, and I can't be at different meetings because I guarantee you, whenever I'm supposed to be somewhere, something's blowing up.
Yep,
They're calling. So,
absolutely.
I have a great team. I have a wonderful processor. I have a wonderful closer. I have a wonderful pre-processor, and then I have a great LOA. So, and that's a loan officer assistant, and they all know what they're supposed to be doing. And I stay out of their lane. They keep me
awesome.
updated. They CC me on everything. Every now and then I have to step in the lane because they get something that they just, sometimes
Need help with.
Yeah, I say
Yeah.
it's kind of like when I was teaching and the principal would come down and, sick the principal on the parent or something.
Yeah.
So every now and then you have to step in and say, this is why we need this because people have yelled at me over documents before. And it's like, it's not me, it's the government. I'm not asking you to, Yeah.
Nobody likes being yelled at either.
No, it's like I'm your liaison between the underwriter and the loan,
Right.
But the government, has their rules,
Yeah, and you're just trying to abide by them and follow
I'm just trying to get you in that house.
That
That's
too,
why I want that bank
too.
statement. But I've literally had people yell at me things and ask me for if I needed other particular things that weren't so nice. Were a little personal.
Okay. Well,
That's
we
awesome.
won't dive deep into that.
Nah.
Yeah.
Let's keep it public.
So you can't grow if you don't let go. Is that right? There you go, man. That's so
I need
good.
to. We should like Facebook that.
Yeah.
Like just write that on Facebook and say, boom.
Send it out.
But Karen, we sure appreciate it. We thank you so much for your words of wisdom. Again, if you guys are in the business now, wanting to find an awesome loan officer, definitely recommend Karen White with Fairway Independent Mortgage. She not just does first-time home buyers and all kinds of buyers, but she also does refinances as well, friends. So, she knows when those rates are coming down. When they come down, she's the first one to know. So just call her up. You got a phone number?
We'll
I
put
do.
her contact information in the
yes.
show notes.
Yes.
So we'll put
I forgot we got the show notes.
website, email, stuff like that in there.
Just give her a call.
And then, as always, please go rate, review, and subscribe. Subscribe so the podcast gets delivered straight to you. You don't have to go looking for it. And 5-star reviews only. Remember, 1-star reviews can go to Dustin at garnerchamber.com. Don't leave those on iTunes or Spotify. 5 stars there. 1 star so you can send to Dustin. But thank you guys so much for listening. Karen, thank you so much for
Thank you.
joining us.
I
And
enjoyed it.
We'll see y'all or talk to y'all in a few weeks.
I thought this was some new hip word or something you young people
They're
thought.
puzzle
Yeah.
called Sudoku.
That's a number one. Has
Yeah.
nothing to do with letters or words.
My granddaughter
This
does those.
podcast is going downhill fast.
Yeah, I know.